And one last leak to deal with, and of course, like every C3, the steering just leaks. So I'm going to be taking all this apart and rebuilding it, replacing all the hoses. That should hopefully get most of my leaks. Alright, here's everything pulled out. I'm going to rebuild the valve and the ram. As far as the pump goes, there was a Cardone one for $50, so I'm just going to replace this one. My ram bushing is a little chewed up there. This side's not too bad, so I got this, which are basically these to rebuild it. Honestly, these things pretty much just kind of pull out by hand and then just pop them in. I'm going to paint this thing first, so. I did POR all these brackets before putting them back on. The original and the Cardone, however you pronounce it, are almost identical. Comes with the reservoir too, which is pretty sweet. It's only like $50. It does look like I need to remove both the studs, and of course I got to pull the pulley off the bottom and move it over. Seems like only 18 millimeter fits it. Standard sizes are too loose in my opinion. This car seems to be a variation. Typically how I get these off, I just beat them off with a hammer. That guy's loose. Alright. Those are both good. I bought this a few years ago for my last Corvette. I did almost the same project, so if not, you can rent these things for free. Alright, got a 5/8 socket there to hold that. And there it is, piece of cake. Ugh, I need to get a bench vise. As far as a new one, just pop these out, screw the studs in. Pretty self-explanatory there, I guess. As far as installing the pulley, I think I just used this piece. It's been a while since I've done this. Get a little bit of lube here. Just to help it along. Yeah, I think I just tighten down that. So this is pretty much ready to go back on the car. It did come with an O-ring. I did buy all brand new hoses here. I'm replacing everything. The new hose did not come with an O-ring, so like here's the old one here. Or which side? That side. You can see there the O-ring there that doesn't come with it. So if you're just replacing hoses, you got to get your own O-ring, and that's just for the part that threads into that back hole right there. It is ready to go back on. And there it is, back in the car. Alright, I decided to rebuild my steering cylinder instead of just replacing it. I did get These are for the parts over here on this end, and I got the ball part also to rebuild that. I did buy those urethane bushings, so I won't use a few parts in this kit, but cheaper than buying a new one. Alright, I had to use obviously my snap ring pliers to get this piece off. I think this should kind of just come out. I may have to try some. There it goes. Take this apart. Guess I'll try to lay these out in order. Spring. Use the right tool for the right job, I guess. Okay, so the spring was the top side facing out, facing like that. Let's see. Okay. I think this is just one piece. It's just a washer. The dimple side, I guess, is facing out. Or I mean the other side goes the other direction, so whatever you call that. So that'll be facing out. Here's, I guess, the ball joint, or whatever you call this thing, the ball. I don't think there's any other parts in here, so seems about it. Get this cleaned up, obviously, before putting it back together, and I guess I'll compare whatever parts I got in here to make sure I'm not missing anything. The pieces pretty much line up with what I have seen so far, exception this. That is just right in there. Pretty much just take your finger and get it out. That's pretty much it for this side. And then obviously clean this up and paint it and everything. Yeah, of course I gotta rebuild that end too. I'm just gonna rebuild it and paint it at the end. So it's pretty much the same as removal. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on the ball. Stick that in. As far as the rest, I'll put in the this part in next, and then pretty much I'm gonna stack it in just like just like I removed it. The new part has a dimple. The outside, this needs to go to the outside, just like the spring, how it's angled. That tip needs to face out while you're rebuilding it like this. All those need to point up. I really don't think I can do this with the camera and everything, but that's what I'm gonna do. Put some grease in there, obviously. And then the snap ring at the end. So that spring makes it a little tricky to get the snap ring on, so I kind of came up with this. I have a you know, just a C-clamp. I put a socket on this end to push against the housing, and then this socket here, which goes over the grease fitting. And now I torqued it down enough I can see the groove now. So hopefully now I probably can't do this one-handed with the phone, but now I can get the snap ring in there. I was pushing with all my might before, and yeah, you got to do something like this to compress it. There it is with the snap ring installed. I haven't obviously taken this apart yet, but seems to be at least one way of doing it. There it is after it's done. Socket did kind of jack it up a little bit right there, but it's no big deal. I mean, this still moves fine. Alright, guess time to do this side now. Alright, as far as this side goes, just like the other, step one is removing the snap ring, pulling everything out. I think it's just a process of pulling everything out. I've gotten those two out of the leather. I got the regular washer. This one's kind of being a pain for me. I think there's one more thing underneath that. That's pretty much what I'm using, just to kind of get in there, try to get in there and get those out. This is the last seal. It's got the lip on it. I haven't pulled it out yet, but yeah, it looks like the lip goes towards the inside. Alright, these are the parts. Laid them out side by side. The leather gasket, you know, has two sides. It's got like a shiny side, and then it's got the kind of leathery side. I mean, looking at the old one, this is how it was installed. This part was down towards the bottom. I'm guessing this was the shiny side, and that's the leathery side, so I guess I'll install it like that. There is a very slight machine edge on that inner lip, so I'll install it the same way. And then of course, you know, these go that way. The kit did come with this. I mean, here's the original boot. It's a little smaller. This actually looks like the O-ring that went down there. It's the exact same size as the original, so that was kind of nice. I mean, I'm not going to use it, obviously. I'm not sure what that goes to. I think that's if you don't want to reuse the castle nut, but I'm going to reuse the castle nut. And it came with those, which goes to that end piece, you know, which kind of goes to the end here, but I bought the polyurethane one, so I'm not going to use this. So, basically, I'm going to, I bought some AC Delco. I'm going to put it in a can there and soak the leather and kind of lube everything up with it as I pack it all in there. It's pretty much just the opposite of taking it apart. Alright, everything's pretty much back together again. I did have to get just a piece of copper pipe to put over this, just to set things down. I did use the old washer in there before the pipe, and then I could hammer on it and not worry about jacking up any of the new parts. Just took a couple taps to set them down is all. So this thing's pretty much rebuilt now, just ready for paint and back on a car. Here it is after POR, ready to go back on the car. Here it is installed. I also POR'd the shaft. Did torque it down. The assembly manuals and Newton meters, not foot pounds, but I had to use that. Another thing also I noticed while I was in there, the tie rod ends. Looks like this one goes, you know, at the bottom horizontal, and this one goes vertical on the inside. I think I had mine at the top. They even say here, you know, how it goes. Don't go past certain things. So anyway, I fixed mine. That one's vertical. That one's horizontal. I think I had my bolts even on the wrong side. I still got to fix the passenger side though, but that's it for now. Alright, as far as the control valve, that's what came with the rebuild kit. After taking off that cover, it ends up, this is a rebuild, so I guess I'm rebuilding a rebuild. it did come with somewhat instructions here, but I mean, as far as these parts go, those really exist just between here and here. So there's no real reason, I mean, besides the little cover there, this little stupid thing, which you don't have to take the back end apart. I'm not even going to take the back end apart, so I'm just going to take it apart basically from here to here. There's a lot of parts, but it's just keep them in order and you'll be alright. Just want to make a note, after you get the cap off, you kind of want to count the threads that you see from the end of that nut, because putting the new, when it's all back together, if you get it kind of close to that position, it'll keep it somewhat centered. Alright, here it is. One thing I've really removed so far is just the cap, the nut, and these two bolts, and they came apart like this. So these are the parts the kit came with. There's an O-ring right there for that guy. I want to say this right here. We can remove this. Yeah. This right here that was on there is one of those black ones. And that piece is just kind of right under there. Okay, on mine, this piece right here is kind of thin. I believe is this piece right here. Yeah, so that's what we'll replace. That as far as out of the kit, it came with a washer, and this piece, like I said, that was up in there, but the top piece does not come in the kit. Oops, and it's kind of got a little tapered edge. It just goes, you know, right in the groove of the thing, and then it goes back on. So that's as deep as you get into the power, or this steering valve. At least as deep as I'm going. Alright, so I have 3 seals left. Obviously that big one goes there. The others, I think, you kind of push on the one end. I don't know if I can do this one-handed or not. Oops, shit. Anyway, there's an O-ring right there. It needs to go on, so we take a little care of those two. This clip actually is what just held that thing on. Doing it one-handed, so I just have this one last one to go. Okay, I put the new O-ring on there. To get to the last one you need, you pretty much can just push it on through, and it's just right there at the end. Just gonna pull off screwdriver and put the new one on. As far as the seal, it's got that lip. It goes like this, with the lip going towards the inside. The flat part is on the outside. Now all I technically need to do is just take that and mate it back on there. Just try to keep, you know, everything as centered as possible. Make sure that this O-ring, if this O-ring comes unseated, it'll leak, so keep an eye on that. But other than that, just put it back together. Alright, here it is all back together. I put the little heat shield back on. This thing was actually kind of a pain in the butt to get on. I don't know if you're familiar with a tool like this, but it's for like wrapping headers. I had to sneak it in there to tighten that up. That was kind of a pain. I'm not going to paint it. It's made out of like the same metal master cylinders are, and I never had much luck with those taking paint very well. So time to go back on the car, I reckon. Alright, here it is installed. I still have to run hoses and connect it to the pitman arm right there. I had to move my steering wheel to take some things down, but the only gotcha, I guess, with the hoses, just use a O-ring for the back of the pump, because the line itself did not come with any. Well, I got the pump hoses connected. I go to connect the other ones. The originals, they're clearly different sizes, different lengths. I mean, there's smaller. I mean, kit I got had, these are identical hoses. One's not shorter than the other. This is, the loops are exactly the same size. This one's obviously clearly a smaller loop. So great, looks like I get to order another hose. And here we are about a week later, and I have 3 identical hoses. I don't have much luck with this mail order stuff. Alright, here we are a week later. I finally got the hose I need to finish this up. I did take a picture of this when I started, and for the assembly manual they had it backwards, so I corrected it. The smaller loop goes on the top, and the bigger one goes on the bottom. They had it. Previous person who worked on this had it wrong. Another problem, I didn't, notice I had this leak down here. I haven't even filled the system yet, but it's, yeah, it's coming down from my my steering box there, so I have to rebuild that. Drop my headers and everything just to get it out. So that's not going to make this video, but I will take that out and rebuild it, because they're like $400 to replace, and it's only like $80 for the rebuild kit. So anyway, this is about ready now to fill up with fluid. I mentioned this just because I heard it. The first time you do this, you probably shouldn't stick your arm through here to start it, because I've heard with out of adjustment, the steering will kick, hard to one side and could hurt your hand. I have a manual, so I have to step on the clutch, so I won't be doing that. But automatic guys, I think I've heard the stories about that. The assembly manual has how to bleed it. Pretty much just start it, fill it, and turn the wheel in each direction, fill it again. Pretty much what I'm doing. I'm waiting for the foam to die down. Start turning the other way. 2, 3, 4. It's turning again. So 2's my middle. 1, 2. That should be centered now. I hope. I don't know if you could hear me in the last video when I was adjusting it. Pretty much I cranked it till the wheels started moving, and then I cranked it the other direction till it started moving the other direction. I counted the number of cranks, because I was going basically end to end, hitting these things, counting those, and it was 4, so I backed it off 2 and a little bit more, a little touch extra, and that's pretty much centered. When I built it, it was centered anyway. So the wheel didn't kick over to the side when I first started it up. But this is pretty much it. This is just the way I do it. I typically prefer to rebuild stuff to save some money. I think for a new valve, new ram, and all the hoses was, and the pump was like $400 or something, and the way I did it here, the hoses were the most expensive thing at like $80, and everything else, was probably like $100, including the pump, which is, a brand new one. So about it.